Trekking through the mountain regions of northern Vietnam, I soon realized that the majority of the tour guides had been women. It led me to wonder of the confidence these women have developed being on the front line of tourism, each proudly representing their culture and interacting with visitors from all over the world. I arranged the trekking through an organisation called Sapa O'Chau. It is a local-run enterprise that provides sustainable tourism opportunities for communities while preserving local culture. Sapa itself is a picturesque town built up into a hill which surrounds a lake. It has a hint of European essence about it, with a coffee shop on every corner, and is a vibrant hub for both nearby village people and tourists. The Indigo trail I'd been on had led me here, as I knew that indigo was a central part of life for some ethnic groups in the region. Through Sapa O'Chau, I had organised a full day of handicrafts. My local tour guide and translator Sai was employed by Sapa O'Chau in 2015, speaking little English unlike today. She regularly leaves her village, sometimes for days at a time, guiding tourists on scenic treks and cultural experiences throughout the Hmong Song mountain range, while leaving her husband with their 3 children at home. I was driven to my craft teacher Som's house, who lives in a Black Hmong village nearby to Sapa. Black Hmong people are a subgroup of the Hmong ethnic group who originate from southern China. They migrated and settled in the northern mountain regions of Laos, Vietnam and Thailand a few hundred years ago. Each subgroup of the Hmong are distinctive to the other by the clothing styles they wear. The name Black Hmong comes about as they overdye their traditional hemp and cotton-made garments with indigo until they almost appear black. I was particularly interested in the Black Hmong craft traditions, being the batik, embroidery and indigo dyeing processes. A Black Hmong person will generally only have a handful of handmade outfits, all made in the same style but decorated with the individual's own unique designs, and each being for a different occasion. It is traditional for the women to handmake a new outfit in time for the celebrations of the new lunar year. The Hmong women take great pride in this process of handmaking their own garments. From a young age, they are taught by their mothers and grandmothers to prepare for the traditional skills of making these garments, not only for themselves, but for their future families. Once the handicraft lessons were over, I was asked if I'd like to attend a funeral nearby. Sadly, a cousin of Som's had passed away a few days prior. Dressed in indigo, we walked down into the valley to a traditional Hmong-style house. In the centre of the house were 2 men playing a drum and a reed pipe. Playing these instruments are extremely important. It is in the Hmong belief that the sound of the reed pipe helps guide the deceased spirit to its ancestors. The beat of the drum is to notify the ancestors that the spirit is on its way. In a corner inside the house was a bloodied carcass of a water buffalo, another important element to the ritual, as the buffalo spirit is to accompany the human spirit to the afterlife. These occasions acted also as an opportunity for young people to mingle in the hopes to find romance and to continue this cycle of life. Once I arrived, I understood what it was that gave these normally quiet souls the confidence. Happy water, as Sai called it. It was homemade rice spirit, and it was surely taking its effect. It was quite lively at this funeral, which had already been taking place for a few days. Inside, the guests were all dressed in their best indigo attire. I would have loved to have stayed, but the day was ending and Sai had to get me back to Sapa before she could return home to her family. I left with so much more understanding of the cultural importance in sending off their loved ones. Rice spirits has a place in many traditions here. Another use is to aid fermentation in indigo vats. It is joked about amongst the women that the indigo vat is like a drinking man. Tending to their vats, the women are observing the smell and the colour and will dose with the spirits accordingly. An indigo vat is a living thing that needs just the right amount of warmth, just the right amount of alkalinity and just the right amount of spirits for it too to be happy. I've come to see and understand how indigo is binded within culture and daily life here. It's a colour tied to history and has central importance for not only the Black Hmong Hilltribe people, but also other hill tribes that have farmed and dyed with indigo for centuries. Indigo is regarded as sacred, and it is tended to with the utmost of importance. If you have a passion for textiles, art and crafts, then trekking tours through northern Vietnam are the best way to immerse into this craft culture. You'll walk through villages and see women weaving hemp, on the way to the next village where you may see farmers preparing soil for hemp growing or even catch them as they harvest. You'll see gardens of indigo and smell fermentation in the air from nearby vats. You'll see babies crawling around their mothers who are busy on their embroidery pieces, and school children on their breaks selling handicrafts to tourists who pass through their village. Sapa O'Chau do a wonderful service for locals and tourists. They have an array of cultural experience options, as well as offering comfortable accommodation.